We are at that point in the off season where we're starting to microanalyze every single bit of content that we can get from training camp and mini camp specifically. And today was the start of the Chicago Bears mini camp, and I could not be more excited for what is to come. What is up, guys? Welcome back to SoBackSports, and I'm so back with another video. And the big topic at hand, I guess, when it comes to going into this offense and going into this defense, is what is our left tackle going to look like, or in terms of depth and in terms of who's going to be taking that left tackle one spot. But before we get into that, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot. It really helps me create content like this for you guys. So please subscribe. Um, Specifically, with our 56th overall pick, OZZY TRAPILO, it's growing to see what the battle between him and Braxton Jones is going to look like. And I think that's what's going to be taking place and transpire over the next couple of weeks, especially when we get into, OTAs and training camp. We're going to be seeing that a lot, and it starts to ramp up. Obviously, that's one of the big takeaways in training camp. Uh, One of the big things is that Ozzy Trapillo is actually interested or willing to play both left tackle and right tackle. So being very versatile is very important, especially when it comes to a tackle position. When you're trying to enter into the league, you're trying to be as flexible as possible, and by doing so, you can get more opportunities into the NFL or even opportunities on squads if you don't make it onto the 53-man roster. But in this case, however, it's a matter of, Ozzy Trapillo, his size, his length, his ability, especially from the get go. And with the current sitting at left tackle number one with Braxton Jones, can he maintain that left tackle one spot going into this 2025 season? I think is going to be a battle that we have to look at. So let's take a look at one major thing, and that is the injury that happened near the end of the season. Obviously, he ended up having to, Braxton Jones specifically, had to miss some time and eventually have to get surgery on that. What is it called? The ankle injury that he sustained at the end of the season, and he ended up missing the final two games. Obviously, we do also have Karan Amagaji to take that next step as well. So that's also going to be an added element to this battle per se for the left tackle spot. So if we take a look at the roster as the depth chart, obviously the depth chart is on the Bears uh homepage isn't fulfilled at all because for every position has to be fought for through competition. Love to see that. But in terms of the players that are available, ESPN has all of them right here. And as it stands out in terms of left tackle position, Braxton Jones, Karan Amagaji, and Theo Benedet. But if Ozzy Trapillo is able to play, excuse me, let me put that up. If Ozzy Trapillo could play left tackle for us, that could mean Darnell Wright, Jonah Jackson, Drew Dahlman, Joe Tooney, and Ozzy Trapillo. That would be a pretty solid pick, solid line for Caleb Williams. And with Karan Amagaji to be that added boost, and if say Braxton Jones ends up losing this battle, like remember, like he could obviously be a depth piece for us, and can we expect that? Probably not, because it's probably going to be him starting and Ozzy going to be sitting behind him. But I feel like if camp goes as well as it could possibly do, where he continuously shows growth day in and day out, and then when preseason rolls around and when he actually has to play against competition, obviously not that great competition, he still can show the intangibles that allowed him to be drafted at 56. Um, but then again, I still think Braxton Jones has that like prove it year. This is definitely going to be a prove it year. It's just that the injuries are just the main concern when it comes to him and his, ability to stay healthy, because the best ability is availability at the end of the day. But with the injury and him coming back off of that injury with the surgery and whatnot, can he produce? Can he, you know, hold down that left side of the field? Can he have that same burst to protect Caleb Williams on the left side of the line? That's all questions that's going to be asked when it comes to his ability going forward. Take a look at just a reminder of the combine. Um, Ben Johnson chose this guy for a reason. This dude, obviously look at him. It's like 6'8", 316 pounds, or length of 33 inches, a hand length of 10 inches and 3/8 inch. And in a prospect grade, 6.3, not insanely good, but he had a really good overall score of 73. Pretty solid for an offensive tackle, ranked 13th, athleticism score of 75. And yeah, just in general, overall pretty solid player. It's just I think his height is really important. If you take a look at Braxton Jones, like his prospect grade wasn't that necessarily great. And he had was 6'5", just 3 inches shorter than Ozzy, and 310 pounds. Relatively same total score in terms of athleticism. And why am I bringing that up? Because when we take a look at the type of tackle that was drafted in the previous regimen versus the current staff that we have right now, you can clearly see they prefer, some certain intangibles. Specifically, with him being near 7 foot, that's already a pretty big plus. And the fact that he was, in terms of his overall score, and the fact that he's eventually be a plus starter in terms of next gen stats. I mean, these draft prospect things are obviously going to be terms of athleticism, ability, but we'll see how that translates on the field. As of today, based on the clips that I've seen, it looks like he has a pretty good solid first step. That's really what we want, and we have to see that over the course of the years of the coming weeks. And then finally, he was at the podium today and kind of had some stuff to say where he's like, throughout college, I knew I wanted to play in the NFL. Doing so, you have to be versatile. Like I mentioned, versatility is important when it comes to being in the big leagues. And then he did the extra work on the left side. And in terms of what Ben Johnson had to say, he mentioned that it's still too early to make an assessment on that, whether Trapillo will be the starter. But he is exactly what we thought was going to be. Great to see it. Great to hear from your head coach, especially Ben Johnson, who definitely made this pick, and kind of like swayed Ryan Poles to make this pick as well. But I think that this is going to be an interesting battle between Braxton Jones. Who do I think will win? I think it's still, like Ben Johnson said, too early to tell. And until we see Braxton Jones suit up, and until we see the battle commence, it's going to be pretty tricky. But I do think that they're planning for the future. Um, and I think I don't mind it either. Ozzy will sit down for a bit or for a couple of games and then get instilled if Braxton Jones isn't quite living up to, that prove it year. Or if Braxton Jones turns out to be pretty good this season, well and good. Um, I think this is going to be an ongoing battle, but something that we're going to have to monitor over the course of a couple of weeks. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'd love to read what you guys have to say. I'm going to be doing more draft coverage, not draft coverage, excuse me, more off-season coverage and whatnot. So feel free to like and subscribe if you want to keep up to date with that. And as always, guys, we'll see you guys in the next one.